As an intern, one of the fastest ways to stand out is to become resourceful. Every workplace has interns who occasionally ask, "What should I do next?" Instead, you will want to grow into your skill of being a consultant, which sounds like, "Here's what I found, and here's what I recommend." The difference isn't intelligence, it's about taking initiative and practicing that 1% bravery we talked about before. This video will teach you how to work with your team, including how to research before asking for help, how to ask high-quality questions, and how to avoid common mistakes. There are two traps interns often fall into. The first is executing completely alone, never asking for feedback, guessing their way through a task, and hoping it works out. The second is never executing without help, asking for permission at every tiny step, and relying too heavily on others. Neither approach builds trust and credibility. When you receive an assignment, especially if your information feels unclear, pause and think. Where can I look for examples? You can check internal documents, previous projects, company resources, or training materials. You can search credible sources online. You can even use approved AI tools to generate ideas or structure your thinking. You might ask a peer how they're approaching something similar. Then, and this is important, bring your thinking to the team or supervisor. Instead of saying, "I don't know what to do," say, "Based on the previous example, I drafted this approach. I see two possible directions. What changes would you suggest?" That demonstrates critical thinking. One of the most useful tools you can apply when you get stuck is the 4-level question framework. Before asking for help, ask yourself, what do I already know? What have I tried? Where am I stuck? Then what options can I propose? This works whether you are writing a piece of music, conducting an experiment, or planning an outdoor retreat for your company. Instead of saying, "Sorry, I'm confused," try saying, "I've reviewed the previous example and tried adjusting the format and the data source. I'm stuck on aligning the final numbers. Could you clarify what I might be missing?" Notice the difference. One sounds passive, the other sounds prepared and thoughtful. So practice this "what do I do next" framework. When assigned a task, write down, what do I already know? What have I tried and where am I stuck? Then what options can I propose? Practice presenting that structure in 60 seconds. Here are a couple of quick tips on AI use. Don't put proprietary data or secure company information into external AI. If your company has an AI license, use that tool and understand what you can and cannot upload. So first, write a thorough prompt. I am an intern working on X type or project. Here is what I know. And then give the context. And here is what I need. Then give specifics. You can ask it to act as an expert in your field. This will set the tone and type of information. Finally, always check sources and the reasoning. You are the final editor. AI can tell you wrong and harmful information. Ask for sources and check them because someone might ask you where your information came from. Here's an example of a beginning prompt. Notice it shares very specific information on the role, how we want it to act, and what we want. Then start going into the content. So practice structuring your prompts with these tips. Employers have told us that they are looking for interns that use AI well and can even serve as the most educated person on AI in the office to help others. So this skill is important. Finally, on AI, remember the environmental impact. Don't ask simple questions you can easily find through other means. Save it for complex work. Another common mistake interns make is asking the same question multiple times. This is where note-taking matters. Write down instructions. Save examples. Create a personal reference document for yourself. Don't assume you'll remember everything that is discussed. Before asking again, review your notes. Search through old emails and read all the way through. Showing that you track information signals you are paying attention and taking it seriously. Knowing when to ask, when to figure it out is also a skill you will learn along the way. If something will take you 5 or 10 minutes to try on your own, try first. If you've been stuck for 20 or 30 minutes with no progress, ask. Spinning your wheels silently is not impressive, but asking without effort isn't either. Researching, asking good questions, and taking notes will create a solid skill foundation, but you also need to pay attention to workplace norms. A norm is a group behavior or standard. When you first start, take time to observe, how do people speak to each other? What are the expectations around how decisions are made? What things are praised? Professional communication is often a very important group norm. In emails, use subject lines, short paragraphs, and a clear request at the end. In messaging platforms, be respectful and avoid overly casual language unless the culture clearly supports it. In meetings, arrive on time, listen actively, and contribute. Always be mindful of what not to say at work. Avoid gossip, negative comments about coworkers, inappropriate jokes, or oversharing personal frustrations. Working on a team is all about relationship building. Every day you go to work, you are building relationships. Some colleagues prefer a quick hello. Others enjoy small talk. Some are focused and don't want to be interrupted. Part of becoming resourceful is learning how to read those preferences. Do not underestimate the long-term value of these relationships. People you meet during your internship may become references, mentors, or even future employers. A strong professional network often outlasts the internship itself. You can absolutely use AI tools to think through workplace scenarios or draft ideas, but always verify important decisions with a human who has real experience in your organization. Seek out a mentor or an ally, someone who can provide context and perspective. Technology can assist you, but wisdom comes from people. You will be around people very different than you in this new environment, bringing a respectful attitude and learn to read the room. Someone may approach a problem differently than you, so learning to understand and work together with others is a career builder. If everyone used their strengths, the team can go further than they could alone. Try to work with everyone, and if there is someone you have to work around, document your efforts and do your best. Becoming resourceful and being a strong teammate does not mean doing everything alone. It means thinking first, trying thoughtfully, and asking good questions. Recognize that every person has different strengths, skills, and ways that they work on a team. When you try to work well with others and do your job consistently, you shift from being managed to being trusted.